Hello, and welcome to my SOARS presentation. My name is Danyelle Berger, and I am a UMGC doctoral candidate. The title of my dissertation is Keep Calm and Work On, Cultivating Organizational Resilience Through Human Capital. My dissertation mentor is Dr. Remy Zakaria. First, I want to briefly discuss the background of organizational resilience in the context of business management. Meyer was credited as being the first to identify and recognize organizational resilience as a concept, which he described as recovering from a jolt. While observing the effect of a doctor's strike on a group of hospitals, Meyer found that the response unfolded in three phases: anticipatory, responsive, and readjusting. The next phase of organizational resilience in business management focused on the concept as a reactionary or a preventative measure. This was due to the large-scale public disasters of the time, such as the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster, Chernobyl, and Exxon Valdez. Finally, in the post-9/11 and even more recently in the post-COVID era, organizational resilience is focusing again on catastrophic external disasters, but also smaller incremental changes as well. Next, some background on human capital and organizational management research. Even as far back as the 18th century, humans were recognized as one of the most valuable resources of the organization. Paradoxically, however, humans were viewed in a somewhat dehumanized way because their value was solely attributed to their skills and abilities and how they could contribute to the bottom line of the organization. It wasn't until the 1920s that the well-being and satisfaction of employees was considered. Of course, this was not long after major reforms in the U.S. took place concerning workers' well-being. For example, the establishment of a 40-hour work week. Most recently, post-Great Resignation, the wellness of employees is not only considered, but it has become to be known as a strategic imperative for operational success. As put forth by Fiat Chin, employees who are committed, happy, and motivated will be better, more effective, and more efficient employees. For my research, the definition shown here on the slide for the key concepts of organizational resilience and human capital will be utilized. The business problem that is the focus of this research is that some organizations lack the human capital strategies needed to cultivate organizational resilience. Therefore, the purpose of this systematic review is to explore the human capital strategies needed to cultivate organizational resilience. And this leads me to the research question guiding my dissertation, which is, what human capital strategies can be employed to cultivate organizational resilience? For the theoretical lens, I am using two theories. The first is Ties's dynamic capabilities theory. Dynamic capabilities theory was first proposed as an expansion of a resource-based management approach. The theory asserts that sustained competitive advantage depends on the development of specific processes and strategies that enable the organization to continuously adapt to unexpected disruptions and obstacles. The three categories of competencies that comprise dynamic capabilities are sensing, seizing, and transforming, as you can see on the first row of the slide. The second two rows shown on the slide transpose dynamics capabilities theory into organizational resilience and human capital. However, all three stages of dynamic capabilities, sensing, seizing, and transforming, require human discretion and action to implement. Therefore, to holistically capture how applying dynamic capabilities to the resource of human capital can be successfully deployed to optimize organizational resilience, I found it necessary to consider the leadership style that would most closely align with this strategy. After careful research, I chose authentic leadership because the goal of authentic leadership is to cultivate trust within the workforce by leading with self-awareness, self-reflection, and genuine, sincere communication. Interestingly, the literature demonstrates that trust exceeds even the importance of establishing technical competence when leading an organization and implementing human capital strategies. This is because trust inspires the workforce to fully embrace a leader's visions and goals, factors that are crucial during an organizational change or a disruption. This slide captures the use of both theories for my theoretical lens. First, dynamic capabilities is shown in its pure form in the top line, along with the conceptualizations of organizational resilience and human capital within the dynamics capabilities framework. Second, the intervention of authentic leadership is overlaid on the bottom to demonstrate the execution portion of the framework. My literature landscape revealed a rich field of study in both organizational resilience and human capital, and identified various streams of research as shown here on the slide. To answer my research question, I chose an evidence-based approach as summarized here and a systematic review process also summarized here to execute the research. This methodology was chosen because it is conducted using a step-by-step approach that reduces bias. My search strategy consisted of search strings which incorporated the key concepts of my research questions. I chose two databases, Scopus and OneSearch. My search strings yielded 1,232 articles, as shown on the slide. After application of my exclusion-inclusion criteria, elimination of duplicates, and reviews of lines of titles and abstracts, that number came down to 35 articles to be included in the systematic review, as shown on my Prisma diagram. For the quality appraisal, I chose the Mixed Methods Appraisal tool because it can be used to facilitate critical reviews of qualitative, quantitative, and/or mixed method studies. The 35 articles in my data corpus included 24 quantitative studies, 8 qualitative studies, and 3 mixed method studies. The MMAT utilizes 2 screening questions and 5 methodological quality criteria questions tailored to the type of study design, to which I added a column to capture a numerical score from 1 to 3. With 1 being did not meet quality requirements, 2 being met quality requirements, and 3 exceeded quality requirements. Scores ranged from 2.4 to 3.0, with the average being 2.8. Therefore, all studies demonstrated a minimum level of quality to be included in the systematic review. Next, I performed the data extraction with column headings shown here on the slide. I found my data corpus to be geographically very diverse, with studies in the United States, all over Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. There were almost 10,000 total individual participants across the 35 articles and 791 organizations. As you can see on the breakdown on the slide, the majority of my studies came from the private sector. I completed 2 rounds of coding using Atlas TI software with results shown here on the slide. The first round of coding resulted in 241 codes referencing 425 lines of text. After removing some codes for not being relevant to my research question and combining other codes that were very similar, this was then reduced to 202 codes for 391 unique lines of text after the second round of coding. These codes were then organized into 13 groups and, at least preliminarily for now, into 3 themes. This is where my research is at the moment. Looking forward, you can see the long list of tasks remaining to complete my systematic review. Thank you for your attention. I'm open to any questions you may have.